If John Donne had been alive today, he may very well have written, "Ask not for whom the roads toll, they toll for thee." It is a bastardization, of course, of a fabulous old poem, but December the 3rd is the official start date of the Gauteng e-tolls project. Just how much will businesses have to pay in order to use the roads? This is Tonight with Bruce Whitfield. I am Bruce Whitfield, and I'm joined by the National Chairman of the Justice Project South Africa, Howard Dembovsky, and the Netflorist Chief Executive, Ryan Bacher. It's good to see you both. December the 3rd, cast in stone, Howard Dembovsky. It is a done deal. You've been beaten. Will you capitulate?
Absolutely not. At the end of the day, we have a situation where we've been dictated to. We've been told we're going ahead, we're forging ahead. We don't care what you think. We don't care what public thinks. Our democracy works on this basis. We dictate, you listen. This is not our view of democracy. At the end of the day, the consultations with public, etc., have been meaningless. They didn't ask us about the actual e-tolls per se. They asked us about a concept of introducing a superhighway between Johannesburg and Pretoria. That's what the original consultations were about.
But December the 3rd, it starts.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, they're going to have to show us how they're going to collect those monies using these e-tolls, which are illogical, and exporting money to Austria.
Okay, we're going to get on to some of the detail in just a moment. Ryan Bacher, you run Netflorist. This is your business. You deliver flowers all over the country. Right. You will, from time to time, your trucks will use the highways. You've said, you know what, it's not worth the hassle, the admin, the pain in the butt for me to resist this. I'm going to get my trucks e-tagged.
Yeah, and we don't know the cost yet. I mean, we obviously don't want to pass the cost on to our consumers, but we're going to have to run it for a month or two to see what the cost is per van, per route,
I'll
per
tell you
area.
what, we can help you with that.
Ooh.
So what our producers have done is they've done something very cunning. They put together a graphic illustrating a hypothetical route that a truck might take across Gauteng. Starting in the north, the Linwood east of Pretoria, driving along the N1 south toward Johannesburg, and finally our little red dot of a truck as it chinks up all of the e-tolls as it goes down a highway with absolutely no blockages in traffic, gets to Komaro, south of Johannesburg. 203 Rand 55, including the discount, 393 Rand 53 if you've got no e-tag. Is that a price you're prepared to pay for a trip like that for one of your trucks, Ryan Bacher?
So it certainly sounds expensive. Of course, we deliver a lot of flowers, so amortized over each delivery, it may be manageable for us to incorporate it without passing it on to our consumers, which is our hope.
But the point is, though, you're willing to sort of run this thing and see how it goes, simply because it's too much hassle for you to not do it.
Yeah, we're not a political organisation. We're a business, and my job is to make sure that all of our flowers that get ordered get delivered on time, fresh, etc., and that's where I've got to put my energy.
Howard Dembovsky, is he a sellout?
Well, absolutely you're a sellout, first off, and secondly, I don't think it's reasonable of us to expect any business in any country to have any moral fortitude. Let's face it, they operate in countries where human rights are openly abused. So let's just go with this, and let's go with the facts, though.
Okay.
You will not be charged nearly double if you don't have an e-tag. That is rubbish. You will be charged nearly double if you don't have an e-tag but still are registered with SANRAL. If you don't have an e-tag and you are not registered with SANRAL, you will pay 5.8 times. So therefore your trip of 203 Rand will cost you nearly 1,200 bucks.
Now that's an interesting little small print anomaly there. So the answer there is the incentive is then to buy the e-tag. Why resist it, Howard?
You call it an incentive, I call it financial blackmail.
Here is a guy like Ryan Bacher whose job it is to ensure that his customers are served.
Yes.
He's got two choices. Either he does it the expensive way or he does it for a less ridiculous rate. He's choosing to do it for the less ridiculous rate.
Apart from some fancy people in Sandton, most people don't eat flowers. The fact is, this is going to raise the cost of food on people's tables, and let's be very honest about this. No business in its right mind is going to say, it's okay, we're going to absorb these costs. Ryan Bacher's trucks, okay, assuming that there are trucks, are either going to pay 1,750 Rand at the cap, or they're going to pay 3,500 Rand at the cap. Not 450 Rand, and most certainly not under 100 Rand a month, as is being suggested by Nazir Ali and his cohorts.
Nazir Ali suggests that 80% of people using the toll roads, we're talking about ordinary consumers, people like you and me who drive on those roads, will probably spend less than 100 Rand a month. But Ryan, you make an interesting point, that here it is, if you amortize the cost, whether it be flowers or loaves of bread, and you can fit an awful lot of loaves into an Albany truck that goes along that same route. If you're putting 1,000 loaves of bread into a truck, you amortize that with the e-tag at around $210 or whatever the number was that we gave you. That is point something of a cent per loaf. It is not an inflationary increase.
Except $3,500 a month. It's not 200.
But if that's on a single trip. On a single trip per loaf of bread, it's a matter of fractions of a cent. It is not inflationary, is it?
And also, we've got 1 or 2 trucks, but most of our delivery vehicles are small vans. That's the right thing for our business. So we've tried to look into what it's going to cost. We actually have no idea. It's very hard to ascertain, especially on routes, because we may use back routes. We may decide not to use highways in certain times of the day. So we're going to have to run it and see, and then understand per delivery what that cost is, and hopefully incorporate it.
You take Bacher, and he's got a relatively nice business, a nice size business, but it's a small business in the bigger scheme of things. There's not one senior chief executive I've spoken to who is going to resist this one little bit. And it suggests that, Howard, you and a very passionate group of people are quite lonely.
Yes, it would suggest that. How many businesses do we have in South Africa, and how many people do we have in South Africa? I think we need to look at that logically and say that small businesses, I believe that there's something in the order of about 200,000 of them. Am I correct in saying
about
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's 45 million of us. Okay. So at the end of the day, you are small in comparison as far as we're concerned. And forgive me for rubbing business up the wrong way, but as I said, they don't have moral fortitude. It's left to ordinary citizens to say, yes, we're going to accept this, or yes, we're going to be dictated against, or no, we're not. And trust me, there is a large contingent of people who are saying, sorry, but you're not doing this to us.
Okay, here you got a law firm by the name of Findlay and Niemeyer, which has come out with a very opportunistic hugely opportunistic move, getting their name mentioned on television. There it is again, Findlay and Niemeyer. They're saying, we will fund the first defense of anybody who is prosecuted. You've put yourself up to be the first person to be prosecuted. You're begging to be prosecuted under the e-tolls law. What is the purpose of that?
Well, it's very, very simple. Let's just take the misrepresentations from SANRAL and put them aside for a second. This matter has not been heard in the Constitutional Court. What has been heard in the Constitutional Court is whether a High Court can interdict government from implementing policy. What has not been heard is this administratively the most efficient way to collect money to build infrastructure? The answer to that is actually no. And at the end of the day, that is our belief. So let's go for this. Let's have that criminal trial. Because trust me, it is fully within my rights to raise those kind of matters, as has been stated today by Paul Hoffman in the Business Day. The fact is, we have not listened to this on a constitutional level.
One of the key arguments against the e-tolls is money is leaving the country. Nazir Ali has said it, and De Boer Peters, the new Minister of Transport, has said it. 17 cents in every rand leaves the country to fund Capsh, who are part of the consortium that developed the technology which enables the ping to happen when you've got the e-tag. Is that really a big deal? Yeah, we've got world-class technology.
Absolutely, it's a big deal. SANRAL and Nazir Ali have told us tolling is nothing new. Electronic tolling is nothing new. It's existed since 1998. But we had to go to Capsh in Austria, outside South Africa, to get technology that exists in South Africa in order to implement this inefficient system. We have a fuel levy in South Africa. Don't tell me it's impossible to ring fence it. I don't believe you. If it is impossible...
I didn't for a moment tell you it wasn't impossible to ring fence it, but it was Baron du Plessis, the National Party finance minister under P.W. Botha, who took it out of the ring fence and put it into the national fiscus in order to fund a war in Angola. It's been misused for 3 decades.
Absolutely. So let's bring back the Dompas. That's a good idea.
Right, Ryan Bacher, are you happy that there are guys in this country like Howard Dembovsky who prepare to fight the dirty fights while you carry on and run your business?
So I think I'm trying not to get a bit insulted here, but the moral debate, I'm not pro or against e-tolling. Yeah. I don't really have, our business doesn't really have a view on it. If it's the law and we're selling flowers in a legal structure, we have to pay the e-tolls. If Howard can win the fight, fantastic. I think that's great. I don't want to pay more money. What I do want, though, is fantastic roads, because the better the roads, the quicker I can get our flowers to our customers, the lower the maintenance on my vehicles. So I'm all for better roads. I'm not pro or against e-tolls, and I don't think most businesses are. It's just a case of I've got to run a business. I don't know what Howard does during the day, but if this is what he is going to do, fantastic. I support it, wonderful. And
Would you fund him?
Would I fund him? I don't think
Would you
so.
fund his battle?
I'm not sure.
Would you contribute to Outer?
Don't think so.
But-
We do have CSR programs.
Yeah.
I fund other things. This to me is not a moral thing. I mean, this is not people starving. In our business, we've got a whole relationship with Cotlands. We do other things. This is a viewpoint that Howard has, and I'm not pro or against it.
Yeah.
But I do want to deliver flowers on better roads in South Africa. And if the law on the 3rd of December says I have to pay for that, then I have to pay for it.
Without insulting him personally and his mother and his entire long line. Good Jewish boy has never insulted his mothers.
Exactly.
But here we've got a situation where small business, medium-sized enterprise, big business is saying, Howard, good luck to you. When you fight it, thanks very much. If you win it one day, we'll give you a pat on the head and it'll be cheaper for us to run our businesses in the long run.
That's exactly what they will do. They give us, no, they won't even do that. They'll just say, great, we've saved ourselves some money.
How do you win this fight? We've got a minute left.
To win this fight, plain and simple, someone must be prosecuted under this unlawful act, okay? And we will prove it to be unlawful in the Constitutional Court. Let's go for this.
Okay, and this is the line in the sand. You're drawing this line in the sand. The 3rd of December happens. You do not have an e-tag. You do have an e-tag. Yours go ping. You will continue. You will pay for the e-tolls. You will not pay for the e-tolls. You pray to be prosecuted so that you can prove your point in the Constitutional
Absolutely.
Court. And when you lose there, what happens?
I won't lose.
How can you not lose?
Plain and simple, this matter has not been considered constitutionally. I'm telling you, I'm going to win.
You're going to win. Howard Dembovsky, he is a fighter. We should be grateful for him. He fights on our behalf.
Absolutely.
And you will continue to do your business. What happens if people decide, you know what, I'm not going to book my flowers through Netflorist anymore because I'm Howard's friend and I side with him?
I hope they don't. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. But the reality is business has to be done and business has to continue, and corporate South Africa has taken that stance.
And when people order flour from us, we have to deliver it. If our vans are locked up because we didn't pay e-tolls, we've got a business to run.
At that point, we must leave it. My thanks to my guest, Ryan Bacher, Chief Executive of Netflorist, delivering flowers to different parts of the country, and Howard Dembovsky delivering thorns and cudgels to parts of the country as well. National Chairman of the Justice Project South Africa. A fascinating discussion, a passionate discussion. Thank you for watching us here on Tonight. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. For now, it's good night.